Former presidential hopeful John Edwards says he has done wrong, but he did not break the law. A half hour from now, Governor Dayton and GOP lawmakers will try again to make headway on a budget deal. The world is a safer place tonight. That is the word from families of 9/11 victims and from the White House after the death of Osama bin Laden. 6,000 homes and businesses still have no power in Burnett County, Wisconsin tonight, and these pictures show just how strong the winds were in Friday night's storm. And the water continues to rise in Minot. In fact, it's not expected to peak until later tonight. Deborah, I like the color that you have on today. Hey, Callie, for a couple free PlayStations, I'd say, hey, I forgive you. Thanks a lot. I know what I'm going to do for installation.
What would you tell me?
I got your phone number.
You can remodel yours and you can have me over for dinner.
Yeah, right. If you're going to help me do it.
What do you say? Like a little risotto or something.
I say
nice.
I'll cook if you do the kitchen.
Minneapolis police tell us that that school bus that you're looking at right now, owned by Minnehaha Transport, hit the woman shortly after school let out. We want to show you a view up from Chopper 5 where we've been tracking these buckles across the metro. You can clearly see that there's more of a backup on the westbound side of the highway. And about 500 kids will be the first to test out the ice here on Lake Nokomis. It's in good shape. The ice is hard, and the pucks, they're moving fast. Their bedrooms are so filled to capacity that the overflow are going to have to sleep here in this chapel on the floor on mats like these. City officials say if you see a coyote, you should scare it off. You should scream, whistle, clap your hands, or throw a rock.
Some relief tonight in flooded Minot, North Dakota, as water levels appear to be falling. Joining me now to tell us about some of the dangers from excessive heat is Dr. Brooke Van Dyke from Health East. Thanks so much for being with us despite the heat. Steve, so little more than 2 weeks till that deadline. Do you think it's going to happen? Are they any closer to reaching a budget deal? So Nicole, a lot of people like to give money for graduation. If you want to do that, what's the best way? Okay, listen up. If you have any old lottery tickets sitting around the house, well, find them right now. The deadline is in 5 minutes for turning in an unclaimed Go for 5 lottery ticket worth $586,000. Oh my goodness.
There it is.
See, what do you think? Now I can be a member of the Harlem
There you go.
Globetrotters.
You need
No,
a
I don't
jersey.
think so.
Need a jersey.
I'll be on the Washington Generals, right?
You don't want those beef and cheese.
Joining us this morning to talk about Pet of the Week is Jeanette Weidenmauer-Bauer from Minneapolis Animal Care and Control. And we've got Precious here. You are Precious.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lim Nakrin. First on 5, we're just 7.5 hours away from a government shutdown. Already, the state parks just closed for the first time in state history. This is a live look at the locked gates after campers were forced to cut their trip short. And here's a live look at Minnesota roads. Construction will stop, highway helpers will head home, and rest areas will close as people hit the road this holiday weekend. We are also live at the Capitol, where lawmakers are still trying to hash out a deal as the clock ticks down to tonight's deadline. But first, campers across the state had to pack up this afternoon and head home. The state parks officially closed 30 minutes ago. This is the first system-wide shutdown in state history, and 5 Eyewitness News reporter Bob McNaney is tracking it live at Afton State Park. Bob? New video just in this afternoon gives us a clear look at the tornado that tore through the north side of Minneapolis. Good afternoon. I'm Lim Nakrin. North Memorial Medical Center just released that video today. Okay, take a closer look at it now. It's from a surveillance camera on the roof right near the hospital's helipad. It's shooting to the east at 2:16 on Sunday afternoon, and you can actually see the tornado moving northeast parallel to the medical center. Can you see that? It stays in the frame for more than a minute. At the time the storm was moving in, North Memorial tells us it had more than 230 patients inside. Everyone was kept away from the windows, though. Okay, so here's the latest now on the recovery efforts in North Minneapolis. North Memorial Medical Center has treated and released 43 patients for storm-related injuries. All streets are now passable again for emergency vehicles, but the next goal is to completely clear debris from curb to curb. Initial damage estimates are coming in at $166 million, but that number is expected to climb. And there are still 6,100 homes and businesses without power. Also today, the Minneapolis City Council extended the declaration of a local emergency, and that's the first step in applying for federal aid. Now, in the damage zone, more than 100 homes were either built or rehabbed by Habitat for Humanity. And now that tornado is changing how they help the community. 5 Eyewitness News reporter Joe Mason is live in North Minneapolis with a look. Joe, you know about YouTube, but what about WombTube?
I'm pregnant. I'm so excited.
That magical moment, once very private, has now become very, very public. Thousands of women, in fact, are filming themselves taking pregnancy tests and then posting the results online. Women say it's a way to connect to other moms-to-be who went through those emotions of waiting for a baby. But are these women sharing too much too soon? An estimated 80% of miscarriages happen in the first 3 months of pregnancy.
So you want to think about protecting your heart and your privacy a little bit as you're sharing this early information with the world.
Some women are taking their good news even one step further. They're documenting their entire pregnancy from the first ultrasound all the way to the actual birth. I think I would pass on that one. Well, you know, the Minnesota State Fair is still a few months away, but we're already getting your appetite ready right now. Here's some of the new foods that you're going to get to try this year. A chocolate-covered jalapeno, a breakfast lollipop, sweet corn ice cream will be available. You also get to try crab fritters. Those sound good. Deep fried cookie dough. Yum. And grilled Yankee apple pie. So tell us, what do you think about these new foods? So you specialize in hand injuries and trauma. You've seen a lot of serious injuries from fireworks. Tell us what can happen.
Well, in the worst case scenario, parts are removed.
Right, right. Not a good scenario. And you say that you see a lot of injuries to the eyes and the face as well? Jacob Peterson lives and works in Miyagi Prefecture, where some 10,000 people are feared dead. His family didn't know if he had made it until we and they got the call that he did. Telling me that they just heard that Jacob's okay.
Really?
Yeah. Those were the words Jacob Peterson's parents waited 4 days to hear.
I've cried enough this week.
The 24-year-old Minneapolis man works in the small town of Misato teaching English. He was in that area Friday when disaster hit. Misato is in Miyagi Prefecture, which was swamped by the tsunami. Thousands are feared dead there. Jacob's parents just prayed that he was somewhere safe.
Where was he when this whole thing happened?
They tried phone calls, Facebook, Google person search, and dozens of contacts. They got this email Saturday night from his employer, Interact, and still no word Jacob was safe. So we called Interact for answers. And by the time we got to the Peterson home, a spokesman called back.
Your son is safe and sound, and he's actually in his apartment.
I'm so thrilled.
Well, they're still waiting to hear from Jacob to find out how he's doing, but his mother thinks she knows what he's doing.
I've been imagining that Jacob is there helping how he can be helping, because that's who Jacob is.
The company that Jacob works for has 1,400 Americans working in Japan. They couldn't tell me how many are Minnesotans or how many are accounted for. Reporting live, Lim Nakrin, 5 Eyewitness News. Tonight, all the students and the bus driver are out of the hospital, but many are, of course, shaken up, including the people who live in the house that was hit, and they won't be able to go back home for weeks. This is the hole left behind after a school bus crashed into this house Monday morning.
I get myself to calm down like I was
Edward Broadfoot was home when it happened.
My first thought, for a dumb thought actually, was, wow, the neighbors downstairs blew up something.
Broadfoot rushed over to see what caused the commotion and couldn't believe his eyes.
And I go to my window and suddenly there's the other half of a bus and I realize, damn, I got a bus hanging out my house. You know?
And on that bus, there were at least 15 kids headed to Talahi Community School.
I hear kids. It's kind of crying and everything else.
Most have just bumps and bruises. 2 students on the bus did go to the hospital to get checked out, and so did 2 kids from the taxi.
Glad that it turned out the way it did, and pleased that the kids are safe.
As for the house, no one can stay in it until it's repaired. The Red Cross is helping the people who live there.
We finally get a nice sunny day, and now I got this to deal with.
And the landlord tells me a man was sleeping in a bed that was right here when the bus hit.
My bed, dresser, all that stuff is moved.
And Broadfoot tells me he's very lucky that he just happened to get out of bed when it got pushed across the room.
What would be the odds that I couldn't sleep and got up on the couch?
The taxi driver was cited for running the stop sign. Reporting live, Lim Nakrin, 5 Eyewitness News.
We'll walk through and fill those up. Thank you. You guys are welcome. All right, be blessed.
Jamie Poole and her 8-year-old niece Alicia are counting their blessings.
We can have these?
That they finally have something to eat.
We have no food, and we can't cook right now, so we had to come here and get stuff that we could actually eat.
They haven't had anything since shortly after the tornado damaged their North Minneapolis home Sunday afternoon.
When's the last time you ate?
Yesterday.
Are you hungry?
But thanks to the Prayer Center on Broadway Avenue, they and dozens of others won't be hungry. Every week, the center receives donations from area churches and feeds up to 40 people.
But it's great to be able to have something to give them.
As they were unloading a shipment of food this Sunday, the tornado hit.
We heard the sirens, and then we looked up to the west and we saw all the black clouds. So we just had to put that on hold, run in, and we just kept unpacking the bags of food.
As they unpacked one bag after another, they realized they had an unusually large donation.
We thought the food was going to be for us to carry us over for about a month or so, not knowing that today we'd need that food.
And Geraldine Spence,
you're in here, you're welcome,
who runs the center, says the timing was divine.
Of course, the higher power knew that we needed today.
And it's not just food that you can get here. You can also get medicine, hand sanitizer, even shampoo, because for people who've lost everything, anything helps. And at a time like this, a little indulgence can feel like heaven.
What do you think you want to eat?
Cookies.
In North Minneapolis, Lim Nakrin, 5 Eyewitness News.